Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, welcome to the BeeSafe Lawns 2015 Kickoff conference call. I'm glad you guys could all make it today. I know that it's been seldom over the winter that we've spent a lot of time together doing these kind of calls. We've all had other things going on and various other projects and trying to. We've had a very busy recruiting season here at BeeSafe this year. Dick's been bringing on lots of new people. So we kind of consider today's call to act almost as the kickoff for the entire year. And we were just actually right before I started, picked up the phone and began the call. Dick and I were kind of looking through all of the attendees, and we're at 97 people on the line, and that's pretty good. That's pretty awesome. Welcome to our call today. We're going to cover lots of things. I'm going to do the best I can to not ramble. You know, as I go back and I look at some of the videos and webinars and conference calls I've recorded in the past, I know that shorter is better, especially when you're going to look at it after the fact. It's kind of a pain in the neck to listen to a conference call that goes for 75 to 90 minutes. So welcome, everybody. I do encourage you to feel free to type in questions into the box of the GoToMeeting control panel there, and we'll answer them as we go. I did send out an agenda right before we got started to cover about a half a dozen different things, and we'll kind of peel right through those. But before I start, I want to give you a little bit of an update as to where we are as a company. And I think it's important to help you understand how Natural Technologies and BeeSafe is doing in general. We've had a really, really good recruitment season, started last fall, and had some new salespeople in the building to reach out to new lawn and landscape companies to get them into the network. And we are currently just shy of 110 locations throughout the country, and that's pretty good. That's right on track. We're at, I think it's 108 certified BeeSafe applicators, and we've run a few numbers and kind of determined that we've got access to more than 10 million residential consumer property in our database, but in our service area, our audience is representative of more than 10 million homes, and that's some pretty good coverage. And I think that as the demand for what we do continues to grow, slowly but surely every year, we know that it's a slow but steady increase in demand for premium organic lawn care. That's a benefit to all of us, and we are, you know, 5 years ago we were way ahead of the curve when we first started operating the BeeSafe network. We were way out in front of that change up, that curveball that was coming into us. And I think that the pitch is beginning to catch up to us. I do say that every single year, but we certainly see, you know, on an annual basis, more and more activity in terms of legislation regarding lawn and landscape pesticides, activism regarding chemicals in our lives, not just in lawn care, but in our lives in general healthy living across the country. And most of you have probably noticed that as we've matured, we've also tried to open the door to as many potential customers as possible by not necessarily reducing our organic integrity, but by kind of allowing you as applicators to offer programs and systems that are not so expensive that they aren't appealing to every walk of life or every type of consumer out there. And we'll talk about that today, too, because we've built in a couple of different options to really keep that cost down. In the past, much like organic food, you know, in order to implement or purchase or work with an organic or truly organic lawn care service company, you need to expect to pay more, largely because the products do cost more. And we never really try to cover that up as much as or really try to mislead anybody in regards to that. What our constant battle is to get that cost down as much as we possibly can in regards to products. We've really gotten it close with the truly organic products, but now this year more than ever, we've reduced it to literally be competitive with most chemical programs in what we're calling our optimized organics program. So we'll talk about how this year we're suggesting 3 programs that you offer to your customers. And again, actually, before I get into that, I should say the benefit of working within the confines of a dealer network is that we can advise you. We'll always tell you what we think is best for you and your company to do, but we would never, ever expect you to implement something on a real strict and stringent basis. One of the great things about remaining an independent and forward-thinking company is that you're able to implement what you feel is appropriate, not only for your customer demographic, for your location in the country, for the way that you present your company as either a super premium service where you're working with high-end companies, or with Dick is looking at me saying show screen. My screen is showing. Is anybody else having problems seeing the screen? Technical difficulties right out the bat. Can everybody see the screen? Can anybody not see the screen? Nobody can see the screen. Huh. I'm going to click something here. Some can see the screen and some cannot see the screen. What does the screen look like? Luke asks. You should be able to see on your computer screen exactly what I'm seeing, and some of you can and some of you can't, which leads me to believe this is a go-to meeting issue right here. Some can, some can't. Rats. I'll pause it again. Thank you, Jeff. I'm looking good on Jeff's screen. I've done a couple of things. Can everybody chime in one more time? Can you see it or no? Okay. Well, no, you should be able to see my screen altogether. That's too bad. So there's some sort of an issue because my controls are showing that you all can see the screen. And it looks like some of you can, some of you can't. So I'm going to continue operating as if this is a conference call as opposed to a webinar, and that's too bad. Hey, Christy. Nope, you should be able to see the screen altogether. Since nobody can actually see it, you should have seen the look on Dick's face standing outside my office with it. Oh, now he's saying he can see it. Said that he had a notebook with nobody can see your screen written on it. He says he can see the screen now. Let's try one more time. Can anybody see the screen? So it's still a combination of people who can and people who can't, and that's a drag. Okay. Well, it looks like it's 50-50, maybe getting a little bit better all the time. So let me kind of start over. Hopefully it fades in. All my controls say that everybody can see it. Now, the fact is I'm recording this right now, and we'll spend 10 minutes listening to me blabble about how nobody can see the screen. So that's kind of a bummer. Anyways, so yeah, it looks like more and more can. Good. I think I was talking about how the demand for what BeeSafe does is growing, but in order to kind of bring it back to meet that demand, to kind of lower the bar to allow more and more potential consumer customers to jump on the bandwagon, we've constantly worked for ways to adjust our programs and products to become more affordable every year. Trust me, it's a constant battle between affordability, efficacy, branding, messaging, and when you are out in front of the curve as much as I think we are, it's a constant battle to make sure that everything is lining up correctly. And over the last 5 years, I believe that we've kind of led ourselves to a very good place in that I think we're getting better and better on all fronts every single year. So let me begin to kind of work through the agenda here. If anybody does have any questions, my question panel is just there's hundreds of responses on it because I was asking you to respond. So feel free to ask away. I want to do a couple of things before we get to the products and the programs. A couple of smaller issues or quicker issues to address, including who the new national account manager is going to be. You will no longer be working with Scott. You all know that. Scott was with us for a couple of years and had moved on last fall. What we decided this year, because it made a ton of sense, is to bring Dick on as the national accounts manager. I think every single person on the call right now has a decent relationship with Dick Conley because he is also the director of dealer development. And as we kind of iron out our own wrinkles here in terms of the seasonality of what we do, we totally understand that the recruiting time to bring on new people into the network kind of draws to a conclusion just as the actual lawn care season really gets fired up. It's not easy to talk to lawn landscape companies about changing their business when they're just starting their business for the year. So operationally for us, it does make sense. We did perform a search to try to find a good person or a really qualified or decent person to fill those shoes that Scott left behind. And all arrows continued to point back to Dick to become that real significant go-to in regards to national account management. And with the number of locations that we've got right now, it totally makes sense to have Dick be that guy. He's been with us since day one, understands what we're trying to do better than anybody, literally better than anybody, understands the product line, has been there with us through every turn, every corner that we've come in contact with, and he's going to do a real good job for you. So Dick Conley is now your go-to person for all questions regarding product and anything. He'll be reaching out to you, too, throughout the course of the year, probably, to be honest, more so than Scott. His goal is to help you grow your business and, obviously, to kind of produce or to process those product sales, get everything out to you as seamless as possible, and with as much expediency as possible as well. Now, again, one more thing regarding getting product to you. One of the consistent, I don't want to say complaints, but it was a complaint in regards to us getting product to you for the last 4 years has been freight. And trust me when I tell you, freight is not an easy subject to deal with. As we've grown our business over the last couple of years, we've reached milestones in terms of scalability. And we've grown every single year, and we continue to grow very quickly. Beginning in 2015, we will no longer charge you for freight, okay? And trust me, our ordering process and our delivery process has taken some time to perfect, and it's not easy. But we need to make it easier for you, and we realize that from cost to ordering to everything. We understand that the flow in which we get product to you needs to get better, and out in front of that is the cost associated with that freight. So obviously there's a couple of caveats that kind of go along with that, and I hope you understand it. There's a minimum order for freight to be included, and that's $2,000. And the reason for that is when you order, 2.5-gallon containers of Fiesta or something, if we included freight for that small order, the freight costs more than what we charge for the product. So operationally, we simply can't do that. The cost to ship something like that by UPS, it is expensive, and so we can't have it cost us more than it costs to get you the product. So there's a $2,000 minimum on to achieve the free freight. Secondly, some of you are still in locations where you require a lift gate, or you're still in a residential location. We've actually got a couple people who have their business, a commercial business, classified as a residential location. We can work with that. But there are fees associated with that from the freight companies. There will be a $100 charge for a lift gate, and there will be a $100 charge to have product shipped to homes, okay? So if you are still taking delivery of products at your home and you require residential delivery, you require a lift gate, what we've had a couple of people do in the past, you guys, is literally have the product just shipped to the hub of the freight company that we're using. And our freight broker, we work with a freight broker that's constantly finding the most inexpensive way to get product to you or to get freight to you. So we use many different carriers. It's not always one specific carrier. You've probably seen that in your own business, and that a different truck shows up every single time. Well, most of those freight companies have hubs in and around usually, urban areas, and then from that hub, the product goes onto another truck to get to your location. We've had more than a couple of people arrange for that shipment to be picked up at the hub of the freight company, and those companies don't mind if you do that. It's actually helpful to them. So if you're in a situation where you need to take delivery of a product in a residential area, in order to avoid that $100 charge, we can work with you so that you can pick up that product directly at the hub of the freight company. So hopefully, guys, this is going to make a huge difference in the way that you run your business and the even right down to your price list, because trust me, nobody knows the pain of paying freight as much as I do. And we want to make it easier for you to be able to use the products. We want to reduce your costs. And that was always a real thorn in my side. And I'm very happy to say that we're going to be able to cover that for you now. So that's a good deal. So welcome, Richard Conley, as the National Accounts Manager, and hopefully you're happy and satisfied with the fact that freight is now included to get product out to you. Cool? Any questions on that? All right, cool. Yes, I'm very happy too. So let's go ahead and move into the 2015 products and programs. I know that we've had a couple of trainings last fall and in the off season, and we have spent some time talking about how we've put together the programs and the products and things we've changed. And it is, whenever I say it's finalized, we do sometimes make adjustments to it, and we will all year long too. And so much is dependent on the conditions, the weather, and it's not as black and white as we'd like it to be all the time. So we still may make some changes along the way here, but this is about as final as we're going to get going into the year. So what we've done this year, you guys, is we've divided our suggested programs to you into 3 different opportunities for a consumer to use your service. And we've listened to your concerns. We've used our own sort of experience, and throughout talking to you, we've got it pretty ironed out right now. And again, I want to reiterate that you don't need to follow this exactly. This is a suggested way to do it. And so the three programs are what we're calling the BeeSafe Premium Organic Program, the BeeSafe Basic Organic Program, and the Optimized Organics Program. And let me talk a little bit about what those are, and then we'll go into some details with it. The BeeSafe Premium Organic Program is that really super high-level, very expensive, extremely profitable for you premium organic program. This is the type of program that you will market to high-end consumers. These are the people in estate management. These are wealthy people who want to use the absolute best. Okay, it is not an inexpensive program, and therefore you're reducing the number of people who are apt to purchase this program to a very small number. The BeeSafe Organic Program, the Basic Organic Program, is basically what we've worked with for the last 5 years. It's sort of the basis for all that we do. It's a more expensive program. It's going to be slightly more than your chemical programs, well, depending on where you are and who we're comparing it to. It's really that program that allows you to maintain some decent profitability, but it's got some significant organic inputs into it. And I'll back up. The Premium Organic Program has the utmost of organic integrity, where we don't deviate from that NOFA program or from that USDA program really at all, as little as we possibly can. And as a result, the inputs are more expensive. The basic organic program is when you don't necessarily bend or break the rules, but you do reduce the quality of the inputs a little bit. You say that there is going to be a little bit of a transition period, and most people kind of get to expect that. You still maintain some significant organic integrity. You can call it organic, and we're all about telling the truth. We don't want to ever cover anything up. We don't want to greenwash in any way. But Optimized Organics is the program that we've been working on. I don't want to say struggling, but we've been really working to achieve for the last couple of years. Optimized Organics really is a program that allows you to be competitive with that your chemical competition. The biggest difference with the Optimized Organics program, and we don't necessarily call it an organic program, we call it Optimized Organics because we're using soil biology for the basis of what we do. But it gives you the opportunity to be able to use rescue treatments when needed. And most BeeSafe applicators who've been with us since the beginning or for any period of time would tell you that the vast majority of your customers are okay with an occasional rescue treatment. It's as long as you don't sneak it in on them, as long as they trust you to make responsible choices for the products that you use. You want to be able to be sort of flexible with the things that you do and the products that you use. So when we click on the Optimized Organics program, we've got a little bit of a description here. The goal right here is to reduce the amount of chemical fertilizers and pesticides by as much as 90%. So this program is really aimed at that average residential neighborhood where you can say something like, get the lawn you've always wanted with respect for the environment too. It's that have your cake and eat it too program. The biggest difference here, you guys, is that we're reducing the costs of the input significantly because we're introducing those the products that we manufacture that have a reduced amount of urea in it. When it comes to green up, when you're using an organic program, the green up is slowed down a little bit because we're doing everything we can to manipulate soil biology to fix nitrogen. Let's just talk about nitrogen for right now. We're trying to fix nitrogen from the soil, from the air, and we add to that nitrogen using organic sources of fertilizer. This is what we strive to do. This is what we're all in this together for. We want to be able to eliminate those chemical fertilizers and those pesticides, but we know that the cost to do that can be a little bit higher than we want it to be. Optimized lawn care, optimized organics is all about doing things simultaneously, manipulating that soil biology, but also bending the rules a little bit away from that NOFA certified program, allowing the use of a little bit of urea. Without trying to get too technical here because we don't have time for it and I shouldn't, I don't have a problem using urea in lawn care as long as you are using it and applying it alongside a biological inoculant. And you'll remember that webinar I did, I believe, last winter where I was pretty fired up and I was kind of yelling at NOFA people and I was yelling at chemical people. And I was saying that we need to find a middle-of-the-road solution to invite everybody to the party. As long as you're using an inoculant alongside that urea, you can reduce the amount of urea that you apply immediately by at least half. Because what happens is in those products, in those biological products, multiple species of bacteria legitimately, literally consume the water-soluble nitrogen that's in the fertilizer. When you apply it, that bacteria consumes that nitrogen. They sequester the nitrogen. So it doesn't leach. Right out of the spray tank, that nitrogen does not leach or degrade by the sun, photodegradation. It doesn't break down. It doesn't escape because the bacteria consume it. Then using our basic knowledge regarding the soil food web, what happens is that there becomes a competition. And just to drill it down to real basics, that bacteria is then consumed by other members of the soil food web, and the waste product of those other members of the soil food web, mostly protozoa. It's protozoa that consume bacteria. The waste product of that protozoa becomes plant-available nitrogen. So what we're doing is we're reducing the amount of water-soluble urea, water-soluble nitrogen by as much as half, and it's at various times throughout the course of the program. allowing for that biology to sequester that nitrogen and to get it to make it plant available to the plants, to the turf. We've had other companies, other BeeSafe applicators, use one of our products called Rhizometrics in their chemical programs. Rhizometrics is not necessarily designed for your organic program, but it's manufactured using a consortium of microorganisms to specifically work with chemicals. And we've had more than a couple of people use the Rhizometrics alongside water-soluble urea in a tank and allow that that nitrogen to be reduced by 50 to 75%. Frank, I know you're on today, and you're the leader in this sort of pursuit here. But what Frank and other people would tell you is that it's not necessarily about the feel-good nature of it. It's the freaking success of the product. The turf looks incredible. And it's surprising so much, even to me, that we're getting these sort of results. We walk a fine line between, talking about efficacy and reduction and all those kind of things. But when it comes right down to it, we're seeing bluegrass, ryegrass, Bermuda grass that is glowing and does not experience a roller coaster ride. So that's the extreme, that Rhizometrics and 4600. But when it comes to your optimized organics program, we really want to try to reduce the cost associated with it and to appeal to a much wider audience. I'm reading all the questions in there. Okay. All right. Let's take a look for a minute at what the suggested pricing is for these particular programs, and then we'll go into what the inputs are. So we're in the back end of the BeeSafe Lawns estimating program here, and so let's do let's do the premium program first. In the past, we've given you a suggested minimum price list, and again, you write up your price list. You determine what you want to charge people. That's completely up to you. It's how you present your company. It's your demographic. It's where you are in the country. There's so many different things that go into it. However, in the past, we've given you a suggested minimum price list. I've turned that around a little bit, and I've built into this. It's a more high-end price list. Instead of telling you the absolute minimum you need to charge, the prices I'm about to show you are prices that are on the high end of what you should charge. I'm going to start by showing you what the BeeSafe Premium Organic Program looks like. These numbers are what you should charge your customers, okay? These numbers are my recommendations on what you should charge your customers. So this is a basic price list from, 1,000 square feet all the way up to, an acre. Down on the low end of the spectrum here, a 5,000 square foot lawn is where we typically start. $80 per application, 7 applications per year. That's pretty competitive when it comes to organics. But what happens is, and you guys know this, we've talked about this over the years, that the sort of issue of scalability changes as you move up the price list with square footage. I always like to come in with a low price, in this case $59 on a very small lawn. It's a sort of an introductory price where you can pick up, you can say as low as $59, something like that. So at the 5,000 square foot range, we're talking about charging $80 per 1,000 square feet for 7 applications. Move up the price list a little bit. When we get up to the 12,000 square foot range, we're talking about $180 per application. So this is a premium program. There aren't a lot of people out there who are going to look at $180 per application for a 12,000 square foot lawn and be happy about it. This is something that you're going to really kind of market to that upper end, to that high-end clientele. It is of the most strict organic standards, and we do also offer no transition, very high-quality program. Okay, it goes up and up from there. If you're up in the 29,000 square foot property, we're talking $300 per application. We're talking $2,100 per year. This is an expensive program. I do have all of these in a spreadsheet here, guys. So what I'll do is I'll get them to you. I didn't post it anywhere yet, but I will. Okay, I'll post this somewhere so that you can take a look at it. So see what I'm saying in terms of the premium program? It's not cheap. It's an expensive program. So let's go ahead and look at the basic program. Any questions on that? Anybody agree or disagree? It's kind of hard for me to see all the questions and comments in there because there are hundreds of them when I was asking you to do so at the beginning when we were starting. I should probably wipe them out and start over. Yeah, I'm going to get to that, you guys. I'm going to talk about the inputs in a moment. Okay. Somebody says they can't hear me. Is anybody else having an issue hearing me? It sounds like GoToMeeting is having an issue. Some of you can't hear me. I'm going to continue on. I hope everybody can hear me. Okay. Good. I'm glad. To answer your question, hello, Kevin and Tina. Yes, these are still all liquids. The premium program is going to be all liquid. However, you know I feel that with a premium program, if you're really nailing them, you want to have a granular on the truck all the time. When I say nailing them, I mean when you're charging them a lot. I should watch my mouth a little bit. You want to have a granular, organic, natural fertilizer on the truck all the time. And when you sense or see that a turf is not reacting appropriately to the program, and it happens sometimes, if it's a heavily chemically treated turf in the past and soil biology is weak, you want to have a granular, organic product on the truck, even something like corn gluten. Okay, at all times will get you that quick green up. But we all know it ain't cheap. Those granulars ain't cheap at all. Let's take a look at that middle program, okay? So to set the stage a little bit, we are talking about liquids. All of our products are liquids, and we can kind of add to them with granulars on an as-needed basis. When you do that, let me back up a little bit. When you do that, when you do a granular product during any application, you should not spray it. You should do only the granular, unless it's the very beginning of the year, because you're going to need that biology as well, okay? What if weather conditions prevent you from doing all 7 applications? Work harder. That should never happen. If you schedule 7 applications, you better get 7 applications done. It's inexcusable to get to the end of the year and not complete the work. And I understand it's hard to balance, employees and everything else. I get it. Yep. But you got to get them done. You got to get all 7 done. Okay, so the questions are coming in like crazy. I'm going to ignore them for a minute and move on to the middle program and talk about what I think you should charge for that. The BeeSafe Basic Organic Program. We've got it built in here, and this is what the pricing looks like. 6 applications. We're going to reduce it. We're going to reduce it down a little bit. $49 per application on the small end. $49 per application on the small lawn end. Moving up kind of slowly but surely. When you get to 10,000 square foot, that's when you hit $99 or $100, just under $100. That's still acceptable, right? Somebody looks at that, 99 bucks. Yeah, that's not bad for a 10,000 square foot lawn. It's probably more expensive than what True Green's charging, but you're still, you're offering an organic program that you're kind of putting out there as a premium, not the super premium, but a decent premium. Moving up a little bit more, when we get up to 15,000 square feet, you're at 130 bucks. Bigger lawns, the economies of scale kick in. Things get weird sometimes, and we're up around 200 bucks when we're at 30,000 square feet. These, just so that I can clarify, and maybe I didn't do so well enough, these prices that I'm discussing are what I suggest you charge your customers per application. It is not what you're going to pay for products, labor, and that kind of thing associated with the applications. The pricing that we're talking about is what I suggest you should charge your customers. You should build in as a price list for your customers to be competitive. Some of you might be looking at this going, wow, that's not that expensive. We do the best we can to try to help you be as competitive with everybody out there and still make money. okay? So this is a kind of a run-of-the-mill, not run-of-the-mill, but an in-between. Oh, don't be sorry. Heck no. Ain't no apologies in lawn care. This is what you are going to be charging your customers, and this is the BeeSafe Basic Organic Program, right? 6 applications, liquid products. We're about to go over what those inputs are as soon as we complete talking about this pricing. All right, let's look at the Optimized Organics program. This is where you're going to compete with the big guys. This is where you're going to be as competitive as you possibly can. And we bend the rules with NOFA, and we're using a little bit of urea. Okay? So, again, right here, this is what I think you should promote. We reduce the amount of chemical fertilizers and pesticides by as much as 90%. I don't like the word hybrid. I don't like the word transition. When I hear organic-based, when I hear bridge product, I hear chemical, okay? And I think more and more consumers also feel that way. There are so many companies out there being squarely dishonest with the public, literally lying, organic-based, transition. That's just saying chemical, in my opinion. That's why we came up with the word optimized, because what we're doing is, as it says right here, making better use of what nature can provide to your lawn. Get the lawn you've always wanted and feel good about your health and the environment too. I sound like an announcer. Let's look at the pricing here. So we're gonna be competitive. The small lawns below 5,000 square feet, $39 an app. Okay, so that's not bad. That's competitive. We can get in there with those guys. Good question. Good question, Luke. Are these prices linked to geographical areas, north versus south? So I have to give you something, right? I have to give you something to work with. And it's going to, this I think is on the expensive end. You need to make adjustments with your own price list based on what you think. If you live in an area that is not very well off, where the demographic is not very wealthy, where people, kind of struggle, but they still use lawn care. I know where you are, Luke, and that's a big place. But I still think that this works with what you're trying to do. I do. So the biggest difference between north and south is that some long season areas might have more than 6 treatments or more than 7 treatments. Generally speaking, the 2 lower end programs have 6 treatments, and the premium program has 7. You can adjust it as you like, but I think that generally speaking, it's good to have it's good to stick right through this. So we're at $49 or a 5,000 square foot lawn. That's pretty competitive, okay, for an optimized organic program. It's not organic, right? I hear you. I hear you, Christy. I hear you there. I know it. You've been in mind when we've been formulating this all along. Good question about a prepaid discount. It's up to you. I significantly think that it's absolutely imperative that you offer a prepaid discount. Actually, on here, this shouldn't say prepaid discount because I'm not going to be collecting money for anybody. But a 10% prepaid discount is good. And I know you're going to lose a little bit of money on that. Not lose money, but you're basically taking a loan against yourself. Okay, a prepay is important. Your competitors do it. You should too. So moving up a little bit, a 10,000 square foot lawn, $90. Yeah, so that economy of scale is kicking in a little bit, moving up a little bit more. 20,000 square feet, $145. You still should be pretty competitive in most parts of the country, right? Moving up even more and more and more. $200 for 30,000 square foot for an acre. You're in the neighborhood of $255. Okay. So does that make sense to everybody? What we've done is we've built these 3 programs to try to appeal to as much the bigger demographic as we possibly can. All right. The optimized organics appeals to the PO folk, like Christy says. The premium organic appeals to the people who exploit the PO folk. And it's up to you to exploit those people. Trust me when I tell you, just take their money. And I'm sorry if that sounds crass, but Get in there, get your program in front of them, be confident, tell them how important it is that we reduce chemicals around our children, and they'll agree, and they'll be willing to pay for it, right? Let's take a look for a couple minutes at what we're going to use for products in these programs, and there's been some changes. So what I think the best place to see the, actually, you know what, do you mind if I take a breath and look at some of the questions that came in, and maybe I think that it's important to review. I'm going to take a sip of water as well. Liquid, products are liquid. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. John, your questions are being seen. Yes, sir. The girl doesn't come with the package. Nope. Whoops, sorry about that. Yeah, there's people saying that my audio is not great, and for those who can't hear me perfectly, I apologize. Can you apply the liquid products on your ride-on sprayer? Great question. Awesome question. I'm glad I did take a quick review here. The old Permagreens, heck no. The new Z-Sprays, heck yes, okay? You want to get a minimum of 1 gallon of finished product per 1,000 square feet out there. That's a minimum. You can push it a little bit more if it's on an irrigated lawn, but volume of water associated with the products is important for the success of the biology, okay? So a minimum of 1 gallon of finished product per 1,000 square feet. The newer ride-on models, especially those kick-ass Z-Sprays, allow you to get that and then some. Those older Permagreens with the small tank do not. So I'd like to see 1 gallon of finished product per 1,000 square feet, regardless of how it happens. With a skid sprayer, 2 gallons per 1,000 square feet is ideal. More than that is even better, but then you run into an issue with, with production. So most often, BeeSafe applicators resort to 1.5 gallons of finished product per 1,000 square feet. Got it? Cool. All right, I think, yes, I'm going to show the inputs now. Good question. I'm just going to read the question right off the bat, right directly. Steve, what's up? Are you suggesting we also charge for weed control? Traditional weed control may be applied to be absorbed, but what about organic weed control like Fiesta? I don't like charging extra for weed control. That's why the premium program is there. Well, that's why that hardcore super premium program is there, and I'll show you the inputs. Now, Fiesta costs too much. It's too expensive. I get that, and I know that we've all struggled with it as well. And it works. It's just too expensive. If you're going to be able to do a blanket application, you're talking 11, 12 ounces per 1,000 square feet. If you're spot treating, 5, 7 ounces per 1,000 square feet, that gets very expensive. Chris, the answer is yes. Yep, we'll have somebody talk to you. So for that premium program, do not spray three-way. Do not spray anything. You spray Fiesta. Those guys at what's the other product that we all hated? They've come back to us recently saying they've got an improved product, and I didn't even entertain talking to them, okay? Adios, right, Christy? The Fiesta and the Adios combined works well. The Adios on its own made me eat my hat, and they've come back to me with some promises that their product is better. I guess I will entertain what they're talking about, but I don't foresee it working. Your premium organic program should include premium organic weed controls because you're charging them for it, right? Question, Clayton, that's a great question. Even if you do use urea, is it still 100% safe? Guaranteed correct. Safe. Urea can never be construed as organic, and here's why. Urea is a synthesized chemical, source of nitrogen, derived from oil. It is not a renewable resource. Oil is something that will run out. If you're an environmentalist, you try to reduce your dependency on oil. You don't want to use a lot of oil. You don't want to use petroleum products that are wasteful. People who determine organic standards have determined that using a non-renewable source of fertilizer in an organic program is inappropriate, okay? So you'll never call it organic. However, feed-grade urea, listen, feed-grade urea is included in cattle feed. And let me tell you why. Because it promotes bacteria in the rumen of cattle. Urea as a source of feed promotes bacteria in the rumen of cattle, in the stomachs of cattle. The environmental issue with urea is that it tends to run off, okay? It's not stable in the soil. It'll make grass freaking glow from outer space. We all have seen that. But urea tends to run off and can cause algae blooms. It's absolutely imperative that anytime you apply urea, you apply it alongside a biological inoculant so that urea becomes consumed and sequestered by the biology. It will not leach. Health-wise, is urea harmful? The answer is no. Urea will not harm you. Man, if you ate a tube of toothpaste, you'd throw up. If you ate a bag of urea, you'd throw up too. But it's not harmful. You don't say, keep the kids away from the urea. Okay, so safe, yes. Harmful to the environment, debatable. Has to be applied alongside biology. Okay, I'm telling you, the rhizometrics in urea is producing results on turf that I've never seen before. Don't call it organic, but if you want to experiment with it, I think I wouldn't talk you out of it. And Blake, the answer to your question is yes, you can. If you want to add urea, and lots of BeeSafe, the question is, can I add urea to the BeeSafe products I'm using? We've had applicators in the past what I call spike their tank. If you add a quarter of a pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet to your BeeSafe line, your results are off the hook. I've never seen anything like it. That's the rhizometrics urea combination in a different sort of way. You'll see grass grow like you've never seen before. Is it organic? No. Is it cost effective? Not always. No. But you can. Yep, certainly can. Christy, great operational question and is not a real good answer. How do you apply basic optimized premium out of the same tank at the same time? You can't. I mean, you're not going to be able to do it. So you either have more than one tank or you make more than one trip. A lot of applicators have their main 200-gallon skid sprayer and then maybe a 50 or a 100-gallon unit on the truck as well. Different units, different trips. Right? John says I had great results adding the urea 2000 product to the 702. That's because the urea is working with the biology in the 702. That's an expensive app, John. There's a cheaper way to do that. We can talk about that. Let's move to what the inputs of the products are. We're going long. I rambled because the stupid thing wasn't working at first. And we wasted 10 minutes. If you go to due diligence, you all log into the due diligence site. We use it to recruit applicators as well, but it has all of the product information. It has all of the pricing information. We've made significant changes to this from a couple of standpoints. One, the BeeSafe store. Okay, if you guys don't have your access, your credentials to log in to the BeeSafe due diligence site, you could actually email or text Dick right now and he'll get it to you, or after the webinar, email or text me and we'll get it out to you too. But if you want to jump in right now and you don't have it, Dick's cursing my name right now, I bet. But you do need login credentials to get into this site. If you click on the BeeSafe store, Maureen has worked very hard to make this look better. By the way, this error retrieving products thing is not really an error. It's just that we can't find Luke to make it go away. So every product that we sell, and not necessarily in any order, is here with its pricing. Okay, 2000. This is one of those optimized products, the urea with biology in it. And Maureen's done a great job, a really great job, thank you, Maureen, of updating this so that there's important information right here at your price list, okay? So take Ocean Green. which was a real popular product, really popular product, basic product, combination of iron and kelp, and we apply it alongside bioscience powder. So here's your cost. It's an inexpensive product. Down here, she's got the description of the product, the rates, and how awesome is this? We've had an issue making the MSDS and the label readily available at all times. You can click on any of these links, and it will bring you to a Dropbox folder with that document in it. Okay, my computer's going a little bit slow. There it is. So I'm going to back up again. The label in the MSDS is readily available right there for every single product. Okay, I won't go into these in detail because I want to go into them detail over here. If I go back up and I go down to product catalog. Product catalog. Product catalog. First, here's a little spiel about how organics can be more widely adopted. And then there's a brief description of every product. Okay, so we've got fertilizers and soil amendments, specialty products, transition products, little brief description. And this is where we go down a little bit further, what we all came to see. Too bad it's an hour later into our presentation here. This is the official BeeSafe Lawns programs. These are, not this is. This is a spreadsheet that we built. I'm moving things around on my screen so I can see it. If you look at it from outside, it looks confusing. But once you kind of focus on it, look a little bit more clear, it makes a lot of sense. This is the premium organic program. This is the cool season version of it. This is the warm season version of it. Turf breather does not go on centipede grass, right, Christy? Turf breather is for most southern locations where we want to go. It doesn't go on sandy soil. It goes on hard pan or clay soil. So that even beyond this, there are other adjustments that we should talk about, and Dick will talk about them as we kind of go through the process as well. Premium organic, cool season, warm season. This is your round. This is your product. I'm going to get my little highlighter going. The treatment, the product, your rate per 1,000 square feet of the concentrate, your cost per 1,000 square feet of the concentrate, and the total cost per 1,000 square feet of the application. Okay? This is your cost. This is not your pricing. This is not what you're charging your customers. This is how much it costs you to implement the program. This is what we're charging you, essentially, broken down by the unit. Same thing over here. Liquid corn gluten. Our friend liquid corn gluten, right? I love liquid corn gluten. Good question, Jeremy. What's up, Jeremy? I didn't even see you on here. I'm sorry, I didn't say hello. These costs are assuming 30-gallon drums or mid-level orders. So we're not talking about massive quantities. These are not tote quantities. These are drum quantities. Right? All right. Let me take care of this. So over here, I was going to talk about gluten. Liquid corn gluten. The results of liquid corn gluten have been awesome. The feedback on the liquid corn gluten, except for a couple of batches that I think Frank is still losing sleep over and threatening me about, the liquid corn gluten has worked very, very well. Liquid corn gluten, sorry, Peter, hello, how are you? Good. Peter, I haven't even talked to you in months. All right, focus. Liquid corn gluten works great. I really like it. I wish more people would use it. I can't get the freaking cost down to the point where it's something that more people will use. We've really tried hard to get that to drive that that cost down. We really have. what we've determined, thanks to several applicators, yeah, I bet you do, Frank, sorry, that a split rate of this works best. 16 ounces round 1, 16 ounces round 2, not 32 ounces at once. Is much easier to validate, okay, and easier to apply. This is a liquid corn gluten product, a liquid product that goes in your tank if in your premium program, along with 702 and kelp for round 1. 16 ounces, that's a lot. Don't forget, we're applying this at roughly a gallon and a half of finished product per 1,000 square feet. So let me just kind of roll through here. Round 2. 702 Kelp Growth Activator Pro Plus. Great results with GAP last year, Growth Activator Pro Plus. This is the inoculant that we really kind of drilled down the consortium of microorganisms to be associated with that aleochemical produced by crabgrass. I don't know how well it worked fighting crabgrass, but we've seen very good results using Growth Activator Pro Plus. Okay, so round 2, we're using the fertilizer, the biofertilizer, biostimulant, bionutritional, weed control. Yes, so what we try to do is cover all those bases. Round 2 is a very expensive application. Round 3, cool season, we're in the summer. We're going with the ocean green as a biostimulant, the kelp and iron, the organic bioscience powder, soil inoculant, iron, dextrose, sucrose, and potassium. Round 3 in warm season, we're getting that Bermuda grass, that St. Aug, those are beginning to really take off and grow fast. In cool season, it doesn't want to grow. In warm season, it wants to grow like a mother. We want to fertilize it. In cool season, we don't want to fertilize it. Here's your inputs, okay? It'll take me forever if I go over every single one, but this is what it looks like. If you want to look at it more closely, it's in due diligence under product catalog. Thanks to Maureen. Weed controls, we've got the gluten up top. Fiesta, spot treated rounds 1 through 6, the equivalent of about 1/4 per 1,000 square feet. Fiesta rounds 1 through 7. Actually, you know what? I just found a mistake. 7. They should both be 7. That should be a 7. And there should be another application here. Totally my mistake. Premium program, you want 7 applications. Damn, I had it close. I was almost all the way right. Actually, you know what? I think you could throw granular in there and get even better results in the springtime. So there are variations, okay? There are variations. It's expensive. An average of $3.97 per 1,000 square feet. Warm season's a little bit more inexpensive at $3.51 per 1,000 square feet. Your total is a lot. It's high. Okay, you got to charge for it. This is a premium program. Basic organic. Any questions before I move on? I know we're at an hour. The product is shipped as a liquid that you mix in your tank. Yep. Kevin Butchko nails it. Do not be late with round 2. I want to strangle some of you guys with your scheduling. Excuse me. That was not very peace-loving. If you do round 1 on April 10th, do round 2 on April 18th. Don't do round 2 on June 15th. You've got to make sure that your scheduling is right on track. You need to be out there every 4, 5, 6 weeks at the latest. I know some of you had, especially 2 years ago with the weather, you know, I talked to you like round 2 in June? No, nope, it's not going to work. Every 4, 5, 6 weeks at the latest, you need to be at your customers' properties. You have to be, or else it's not going to work. You have to be. Or you're going to not be able to get all the applications done. I know. I know, Kevin, right? Exactly. Christy brings up a great point. In the South, that first and second round in terms of green up is not as important. It is not as important because we don't have the green up. We don't have the green up. But generally speaking, don't wait. If you're going to wait, it's okay in warm season to wait a little bit longer between rounds 1 and 2. You know, we've had in cool season, people call and say, I'm having a problem with green up, right? Well, you've only done one application and it's June, that's why. In warm season turf, your grass doesn't want to really grow and go through that growth spurt until, depending on where you are, May, maybe, whatever, you know, varies, but you can put a little bit more time in between applications, warm season. Basic organic. Oh, let me check questions. All right. Here's your inputs for basic. This is your middle program. Round 1, Growth Activator Pro, and I'm going to read this. BeeSafe Basic Program, simple, low-cost approach to implementing an organic program. This is important, that's why I want to read. It does not include a grassy weed preventative control product in the way the premium program does. Therefore, you'll need to spot treat accordingly. It's our recommendation that you implement a post-emergent strategy that includes Fiesta for broadleaf weeds, Tenacity for broadleaf weeds and grassy weeds, or a selective chemical control that's approved by a customer. Because the inputs are less intensive, the premium program, it's more likely you'll require additional nitrogen inputs, properly balanced granular application, natural fertilizer, will ensure growth and color are acceptable. So if you have a transition issue here, you do need that granular application. Weed control. Many of you used that product Tenacity last year. I experimented with it too. Tenacity is an EPA-registered low-risk herbicide. Heck no, is it not organic? Not even close. Or maybe it is, I don't know, but it's not labeled as such. It did not achieve registration as being EPA exempt. Tenacity works really great by preventing chlorophyll from being produced by the plant. It works way different than any weed control you've ever used. Some of you have used it and you don't like it. I like it, and if you're going to use a basic program, you should put it in there. It acts as a post and pre-emergent control for a lot of weeds. In the South, check the label. There are certain turf types that it is labeled to control, not support. So if you spray it on bent grass, it's going to kill the bent grass. I believe Zoysia and St. Aug is okay. I believe Bermuda too, not bent grass. Don't quote me on centipede. I should have looked and I should know. I don't remember off the top of my head, right? Okay. I love this product a lot. I do. It started, Chip started talking about it a couple of years ago. I am talking about Tenacity. Yes, I am talking about Tenacity. Tenacity, we're not going to sell it. You can buy it at Let's Go. You can buy it online. You can buy it anywhere. The amount that you use is measured in the teaspoon per 1,000 square feet. So very little. It ships with a little syringe that you put in. You use teaspoons per, I think it's 0.14 ounces, a tenth of an ounce per 1,000 square feet. Kevin, is that right? It does hurt Bermuda? That's why I wanted to bring it up, because I didn't remember off the top of my head. It might. There's one of the warm season grasses that it's labeled to be careful with. You're going to want to check that. But Tenacity is an acceptable input in your basic program under my standards because it is an EPA-registered low-risk herbicide. We're not spraying it on something that we're eating. We're spraying it on grass. And as an EPA low-risk herbicide, I think most of your customers would be okay with it. When you apply it at the right time, it acts as both a pre- and a post-emergent control for broadleaf weeds and grassy weeds. It's a great product. I love it. I used it. It works weird, but I like it. And it can be mixed in your tank. Yes, Peter, it will not affect the biology. We ran some tests on it. It will not negatively affect the biology. It's essentially an oleochemical derived from the bottlebrush plant. Not to get off track here because I'm already way off track. The bottlebrush plant is a desert plant that produces this chemical that kills weeds that compete with it for water. So same thing, they synthesized it. It stops photosynthesis from happening in weeds, broadleaf weeds and grassy weeds. If you want to talk more about it, we can after the fact. So Growth Activator Pro and Kelp round 1, Turf Breather and Kelp round 1, not on St. Aug. I mean, not on centipede, please. Only not on sandy soil, only in soil that is hard pan clay, hard pan or clay, I should say, where the product will flocculate the clay. Let's get some flocculation up in here, right? 702 and Kelp, Turf Breather Kelp Gap. Into the summer, We stop fertilizing here. We start fertilizing here. I love the bioscience powder. It's my favorite. Combine that with fertilizer here. 702 in kelp late summer. 702 in kelp late summer. Early fall. Winter protect. Turf breather, gap, turf soother. Okay, there's a lot of things going on here all at once, and everybody's a little bit different. These are basic recommendations, and everybody's going to be a little bit different. Let's go optimized, Joe. Optimized Organic Program offers you and your customers the most fail-safe way to have a healthy lawn and reduce and eliminate chemicals. While it does not qualify as being NOFA certified organic program because it uses urea as a core input, it's by far the most effective and results-oriented program you can offer your customers. Am I losing anybody yet? You're all still on, and it's amazing. It's amazing. I don't know what y'all doing on because we're at over an hour, so I'm going to keep going. The 15015, I love it. Not a bioenhanced product. Nitrogen, potassium, seaweed, and humic acid, and certain sugars. Applied alongside Growth Activator Pro Plus. This is kick-ass. This is a great application. Over here, turf breather and kelp. I want to say it again. Let's keep the turf breather off the sand. Round 2, 2000, biologically enhanced urea product and your Tenacity. It's going to act as your pre- and post-emergent. Over here we got turf breather, kelp, and gap. We're still not growing yet. Now this is different. Certain parts of the south, you might be growing already. You might not be growing yet. Into the summer, 15015 and gap. 15015 and gap. Growth Activator Pro Plus is what gap is. Soil inoculant, sequestering the nitrogen. You're getting about 0.2 of a pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet using this product, even a little bit less than that. The gap makes it act like 3/4 of a pound. We've had, is anybody from Hoxie on today? Justin, I did see you. Yeah, Justin at Hoxie. We adjusted our Cape Cod program several years ago after missing it the first year to include a version of this. And this should be called the Hoxie program, but I couldn't sell that to the rest of the world. By using that urea product at a much reduced rate, we're just seeing really good results. Not organic. If NOFA sees this, they'll be like, that ain't organic. Chip be mad at me about this. Not really. Question is, Tenacity a viable crabgrass control either pre or post-emergent? It is. I love it. Tenacity will prevent crabgrass, and Tenacity will kill crabgrass. I have pictures to show you. Even at like 3 and 4 tillers, it looks weird, John. What it does is it stops chlorophyll. So that, believe it or not, and Frank will tell you this too, it makes the crabgrass turn white. It's turned silver. And customers are like, why is my crabgrass white? So you got to be a little bit careful if you apply it really late in the year. That silver crabgrass takes longer to die, but it does. Low risk, EPA low risk herbicide that controls and prevents crabgrass. It's like we've been waiting for this forever, and it's taken me a little bit of time to come around to it, but I really, really like that product a lot. I do. So the answer is yes, pre and post. Summer, 15015 and gap. Midsummer, Ocean Green, and BSP. I love that. You know, this can kind of move around a little bit depending on the weather, the time of year. It doesn't have to always be exact, and we'll talk about it throughout the course of the year, how it plays off. But listen, this is your product cost down here in the optimized program. An average of $227 per 1,000 square feet, $13 per 1,000 square feet per year, including your weed controls, including pre- and post-emergent weed controls, even less with our warm season because the inputs are a little bit more inexpensive. This is going to allow you to compete, okay? Asterisks alert, the warm season optimized does not have any weed controls pre- or post-emergent figured into the cost. There's lots of options. I know many of you who deal with POA are using, anybody want to remind me what the name of that product is? David, I saw you on here, and Jeff, I think I saw you. What's the name of that pre-emergent you're using on POA in the fall? Yeah, I can't remember. Nobody's chiming in. Phil, yeah, I'm going to say it is. And that's from, the question is Tenacity as effective as pendimethalin or pendimethalin? Spectacle, thank you. Kit, thank you. Spectacle, I'm going all over the place. Spectacle is that pre-emergent that many of our guys have used in the fall to deal with POA. back to the Tenacity. Is it as effective as Preem, Dimension, Barricade? I think it is, and I use it myself, Phil. I do. It's inexpensive, too. You're going to be surprised at the cost. Perhaps I should look at trying to distribute it. It's inexpensive. It's going to be, let's see, $1.35 per 1,000 square feet up here. It's 0.1 ounce per 1,000. It comes in at $1.35 per 1,000 square feet. Yeah, I like it a lot. It's not expensive. Okay. The question is Tenacity Not for Bermuda, and I should have looked. Look at a label. Google Tenacity label and read the warnings or the instructions with warm season. I couldn't remember. I think it's okay with Sanog, Zoysia. Check for Bermuda. It's not okay for bent grass. I can't remember on centipede either. A lot of things in my head. So here's your inputs and your costs, and that's a lot to cover in a short period of time. And several of you are chiming in that Tenacity is not good for Bermuda grass. Double check it, but I knew there was something telling me that I didn't want to come right out and say it's going to work right off on everything. So again, double check it. Somebody Googled it and copied and pasted. Tenacity for use with Kentucky bluegrass, centipede grass, bluegrass, buffalo grass, tall fescue, perennial rye, fine fescue, St. Augustine. No on Zoysia. Thanks, Scott. Thank you. No on Zoysia. I don't see anything about Bermuda. Okay. Double check it. I'll look at it too. I'll look at it as well. Here's your inputs, okay? Any other questions before we move on? We're at over an hour, and I'm sure I'm losing you. Scott's continuing to copy and paste. Tenacity is not recommended for use on Zoysia, hybrid or common Bermuda, seashore paspalum, or kikuyu grass? I don't know what that is. Kikuyu grass. Don't use it on your kikuyu. So careful on your Bermuda, careful on your Zoysia. I wanted to talk about a couple other things outside of products, if I can move on. But I don't mind answering questions. Any other questions with that? Christy, you're not going to use that turf breather by any stretch. I think you're going to be able to get away with just your kelp, maybe something with some humic acid in it too. But low input, that's the trick on your centipede in the early spring or late winter essentially. We kind of don't want to get too carried away with our inputs. Alternatives for Tenacity on Bermuda. As a pre-emergent, that's where that spectacle is going to come in. As a post-emergent, that's where you're going to use something like Fiesta or a chemical herbicide if it's a cost issue. Okay. Anything else? And guys, we can have these one-on-one conversations with you all the time. We've got plenty of time. I know that lots of you are getting going, but this is why we took somebody like Dick and put him in this position, because he's going to be able to help out. Going once, going twice. One thing that I've been frustrated with over the last couple of years is our inability to be able to generate legitimate leads and sales for you. And we know that there's value in the brand, but when it comes right down to it, I think it's really important. I can advise you on things. I can tell you what I think is going to work best for marketing. I can help you with your collateral. I can help you determine what your marketing plan is going to be. It's easy for me to spend your money, but it's not always easy for you to execute what we're talking about doing. So beginning last summer, I started to really try to put together a plan to help grow the consumer brand. I've always been frustrated with the way I call it a Jekyll and Hyde scenario, where we're really two brands. We're BeeSafe, the brand that recruits lawn and landscape companies to join the network, and we're BeeSafe, the brand that the people who join the network use to sell their program. And I don't feel comfortable, I had not felt comfortable, that we did a really good job separating the two. They can't live together. They simply can't. It's not appropriate for those brands to live together. You told me that when you became members of the network, and then a consumer might find the BeeSafe website, and the BeeSafe website is all about me finding more of you. That's a significant disconnect. That's not appropriate. It doesn't work. So I've always been frustrated with that, and I've begun to work hard to try to separate it, which brings me to mybeesafelawns.com. mybeesafelawns.com is a microsite. This is a very simple landing page microsite. Okay, it is not a complicated website. It is a site designed to bring the BeeSafe brand to the consumer. Okay, here's the home page. Very simple, very simple. The logo, a lead capture with a reason for somebody to put their lead capture in, 9 organic lawn care tips that will change your lawn and life forever. Most of you probably seen that. An MLQ widget, and another lead capture here. There's 3 ways for a potential consumer to enter their information here. Don't worry, most people won't use this. Don't worry. And if they do, it's associated with pricing that's high. Okay? This is all about lead capture. About us, a very simple description about what BeeSafe is all about. Okay? Request an estimate today. Lead capture, anywhere in the USA. I'm going to go to locations next. Please take a look at this and make sure I've got your location correct. These are all the BeeSafe locations. I need to make sure that your contact information is correct, that your company name is spelled correctly, that your name is right, your email is right, your phone number is right. Okay? Please look at this and make sure that your contact information is right. Some of the newer applicators who came on recently, it may not be updated all the way. But I'm asking you as a favor to look at the locations section on BeeSafe, mybeesafelawn.com, and tell me if the information is correct. This does not link. There is not an active link. We don't want people to leave this site. We want them to give us their information so that we can help you. The blog is what is the most key point here. There's SEO involved with this. There's being texted. There are things in place, there are investments that we're making to drive traffic to this website. A very basic website with lots of things happening on the back end. The blogging is important, and you'll see that I began to blog last summer, last fall, if you go way back. Last fall was the first one, October 13th. And I'm making a habit to do 2, 3, as many entries as I can on this. Knowing that not everybody will read it, it's not something that people really will take a huge interest in, but it's all about search engine optimization. So you can click on this. Look, it's a basic entry. Topical things, okay? Things that have to do with what's going on. And the goal is for this to begin to show up nationally on the search engines, mostly Google. And what we really want to do is generate leads for you through this lead capture. I've got lots more to talk about in regards to this that I just don't want to get into now because I'm already boring the heck out of most of you, okay? There are other things that go along with this campaign. Social media, my BeeSafe Lawn Facebook page, and you'll see that they're always posted. Those blog entries are always posted. The more and more you can share this social media, or the more you can link to it, anything you can do to promote this, it will promote the brand. And that's what we need to do. I'm going to talk to you in the near future about other things that will help build this brand and this microsite to the benefit of all of us. We've got a contractor. A lot of you guys did some work with Seth last year with pay-per-click and AdWords. We're going to reel that in. If you want to do a pay-per-click campaign, I'd ask you to do it with mybeesafelawn.com, and we can set it up so that your pay-per-click and your AdWords are pointed directly to this. I'm not saying you should leave behind your personal pay-per-click campaign. I think you should do this in addition to that, depending on what you've got budgeted, what your expenses are. But we want your pay-per-click campaign or your AdWords campaign to point right to this, and I'm going to help you with content, and it's going to help with more people involved with it to optimize and lower the cost of those clicks. We've been talking to a person about local citations. Does anybody know what local citations are? So local citations are the way that your business shows up locally. Things like this. There's more than 300 local citations, right? But some of the most popular, Angie's List, Bing, there's 300 of these that we can get you listed on using some automation. It's not free. It's not expensive. It's not free. I think it's $300 to have you optimized to show up on all of these. What ends up happening when this is right, you guys, when this is right, when your listing is on every one of these local citations, there's more than 300 super pages. You know what these are: white pages, yellow bot, yellow book, Yelp, YP, all these things. When you search, when a consumer searches for lawn care, you show up in the local listings on Google. It's all about optimizing it appropriately. Okay. I tried to push quite a few of you to direct mail last year, and this year I'd like to. I've talked to a really, really awesome system. I'm not even going to go into it right now, but it's sort of like an on-demand type thing. It's inexpensive and so easy to use. We'll talk about that shortly as well, where you can pick your customers and then send a direct mail piece to their neighbors in just a couple of clicks. We'll have pre-designed direct mail pieces that you can literally just click on and have sent to the neighbors of your existing customers with ease. It's all designed to grow the My BeeSafe Lawn brand, which is designed to improve your lead generation and your customer count. We're also, and I don't want to go into details now, we've made a significant investment internally in our own video campaign that will launch at the end of March or the beginning of April. And I'll give you more details on that later. But the goal here is to push and promote the BeeSafe Lawns brand to America, to the consumer base, okay? And that's what we want to do. So I know I've gone way long. It is now officially an hour and a half almost. I want to open it up to questions for a couple of minutes. Does anybody have any questions before I let you go? I know I've lost a couple of you in the last 15 minutes or so. Any questions? There were lots of questions about Tenacity. We lost a couple people for sound issues. Maybe that's why the number dropped off. You're welcome, Brad. Thank you. All right. Well, I guess we've reached the point. Good question. Okay. Nope. So for those of you who want to take off, I'll talk to you later. For those of you who want to stick around, we'll keep answering questions until we're done. See you later, John. It was good to catch up with you. Let's talk again soon. How come there's no fertilizer in cool season round 1? Good question, Jeremy. It's a cost issue. So it's a timing issue, too. So what we want to do is get that first application done early. Don't wait. Lots of times you think, oh, boy, I think I can wait until the end of April to do this. You want to get out there at the beginning of April or as soon as you can. When you see True Green treating lawns, you should be treating lawns, too. You don't need a fertilizer that early. So what we want to do is focus on soil biology and biostimulation. If you can get out there a month after that and get the fertilizer down, you're going to get better results at a lower cost. Okay? You're going to get better results, lower cost. That's what we're all doing. That's what we're trying to work on. Does that make sense? But timing is important. Don't wait. You can't wait till June to do round 2. If you're going to do round 1 without a fertilizer, you better do round 2 April, beginning of May. Questions are adding up here. Michelle, we can have Dick reach out to you. I'll have Dick reach out to you to talk about that, okay? Tim, Huck, what is up? question is, if someone could only afford a granular in spring instead of a liquid, would it be best to omit liquid round 1 or round 2? Let me think what that's trying to ask. If someone could only afford a granular in spring instead of a liquid app, would it be best to omit liquid? Oh, I see. That might depend on what the weather's doing, Tim. Especially in spring, if it's a really, really, really late spring like it was last year, or if it's a really, really early spring like it was 2 years ago, you're going to make an adjustment. When the grass begins to grow and come out of dormancy, or 2 weeks after that, it wants to be fertilized. You want fertilizer in there, and if I know you're listening to me talk about urea and cursing me, and I don't, I understand the standards. So you would want to use in your completely organic program a granular round 2. You'd want that granular to be round 2. Phil says, I always feel that the yard has to be cleaned up first. This can delay. I agree, but sometimes it can't be perfect. Trust me, at Lawn Dog, when it was only and all about production, seldom did that become a major problem. But I get it. Yep. I'd err on the side of production in the spring. Always err on the side of production on spring. Should I do Tenacity round 1 or round 2 or both as pre or post? I would do Tenacity round 2 because then it acts as a pre and a post. You're going to catch the pre-emergent qualities of it, as long as it's not too late. Again, depends on the weather. But you might have some dandelions or clover having germinated in May, and you want to make sure that the soil temperatures are right so you can get it down as a pre. But with crabgrass, it's going to act as both a pre and a post. That's why I freaking love this product. So I'd go round 2. If you're waiting for the customer, Phil, you're right. You're out of luck. How long before a customer will see results? We've always, if everything works right, the results are there the same way. It would be with a chemical program. This is not different. This is not old school organics where you say you're going to have to wait, months or even years to see a result. We're working on trying to be competitive with chemicals right away. Pay-per-click question. David, good question. Let's talk about that offline in terms of, I know the person you're probably working with does a good job if it was referred by Jeff. I know they've done a good job for him. So in that case, I'm not sure I would do both. And what you would budget is directly related to how much money you got and what the search statistics are. If there's a lot of competition in your market, in yours there probably is a lot of competition, which drives the cost per click up. So $500 per month might generate, and it's so hard to predict this. I know the person you're working with will have good stats for you, especially for that Atlanta market. But it might be $5 per click, and you might only convert 10% of those clicks to leads, or probably less than that. We can talk about that offline, but if you're using the same person that Jeff used, I know they did a great job for him. Christina, I know we lost you and you're back. Do you still recommend the early app if it is late spring? Tenacity is liquid, Phil. Yeah, it's a gooey liquid, but it comes in an 8-ounce bottle, and it's like a thick, not a paste, but it's like a thick liquid. It works. You put it in the tank with a syringe. Do you recommend the early app if it is a late spring? Yeah, okay, now I get it. I see what you're saying. Yes. Without a fertilizer, if it's a late spring, no. Good. That's a good question. If all of a sudden it's the end of April and there's snow on the ground in the middle of April, Christina's up in Massachusetts, so this doesn't apply to everybody. Nature has a way of kind of evening out. Just because it's a late spring, if things don't start growing until late April, it could be mid-May, and it could be back to normal. So you want to get out there as soon as you possibly can, always. You always want to get that first app done as soon as you possibly can. What goes in the tank depends on what the conditions are. So fertilizer, if it's early, no. Fertilizer, if it's late, yes. We can play that by ear too, Christina. Yeah, Luke, you and I did talk about that, and yes, the question in Florida, whitefly on ficus and spiraling whitefly on palm trees. Grandivo is a product that we sell, and I think we talked about this already. Grandivo, Google it and read the label, and whitefly is on there. Awesome product. I love Grandivo. It is expensive too, but it's a certified organic insect control with a really wide variety of targets. And whitefly is on there. Ken, good question. Have there been any soil samples or studies done on lawns 3 to 4 years on the program? We do that every year in Scarborough, Maine. And we have seen that the amount of soil biology has increased. However, in Scarborough, Maine, we're talking about an account that's, I think, 40 acres. So I don't know if I trust that as much as on a smaller plot. You know this. What happens is you're using biologically active products that introduce soil biology. You're using those products that amplify the indigenous soil biology. But more importantly, on these organic lawns, we're not using products that destroy soil biology. So it only serves to suggest that, yes, that biology is absolutely going to increase, mostly by the fact that you're not destroying it and having to repopulate it. All the products are liquid. All the products are liquid. And I hear you, Tim. I respect that. Tim Huck, for those of you who left, is organic to the core, and I think that NOFA, those NOFA standards are absolutely what we base everything we do on. I just like to bend them a little bit, bend the rules sometimes. I think I've got all the questions answered. I'm going to let you guys go, and we've been talking for an hour and a half. Thanks for joining me today. There's still 50 of you left online. Half of you have gone. Hopefully we'll talk again soon. We'll continue to grow your business, and I really appreciate you joining me today. Have an awesome weekend.